Hello, hello. Welcome to the Humble House Husband channel. I'm your host, Don Quixote Strusen, and this is a channel where we talk about everything food, fun, and family slash friendship related. Uh, I am hoping you are having a good holiday season, preparing for the upcoming festivities. Today, I'm doing a little bit of a special project, and I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I have. Today, I'll be looking back and ranking the top 10 best restaurants that I've eaten at and that I highly recommend. Now, the difficult part about this one is that as much as I enjoy it, some of these restaurants aren't necessarily around in my area anymore. But if you have any of them in your area, I highly recommend you check them out. Now, I got the inspiration from this video from watching a few other YouTubers, and it it's just I think it's a fun way to try to engage with the audience and try to get to know my community a little bit more. And with that being said, I just wanted to say that first of all, before I get into it, I just wanted to say thank you for all my subscribers, all my viewers. You helping me build up my channel has been a real confidence booster for me. When I started this, I didn't think it was actually going to go anywhere. But seeing all the support coming in from all over the U.S. and just from friends and family and even random strangers, it means a whole lot to me as a small time YouTuber. Um, and I am really looking forward to what the future holds in regards to how big this channel can grow or how many new viewers or subscribers I'll have. Um, One of the things that makes this a little bit easier for me is I've always wanted to partake in public speaking, but I've never actually had the talent for it, at least in person. But having this venue to, just have a voice and be able to communicate in a way where people will actually understand me is the greatest achievement I have ever witnessed and been given the capability to. With that being said, this list is rather long, so this is going to be a two-part uh, video, little like mini series. And like I said, if you have any other recommendations, I'd love to hear your restaurant recommendations. And this is totally my opinion, with my scarce knowledge of the food business. But again, these are just my top 5 favorite restaurants, or part one, and then the next video series will be my top 5 favorite restaurants, part two. And again, there's gonna be a lot more to this, but this is just like my favorite sit down restaurants. I didn't want to kind of lump them all into one because that would kind of take away some stuff to talk about. So it's gonna be like my top 10 favorite regular restaurants, top 10 fast food restaurants, top 10 um, pizza joints, what have you. And with that being said, I'm really looking forward to getting into this with you. So without putting it off any further, let us get right into it. Now, the first restaurant I would like to talk about is a local restaurant of mine from my hometown. It is known as Paradiso, and it is an excellent Mexican restaurant if you are looking for some place with atmosphere, with good food. Um, I have been there on multiple occasions. It was actually one of my personal favorites growing up. And even going back there over this past summer, it is still holds up to be one of my favorite um, restaurants overall. And I think what ranks this high up on the list is because, as someone who doesn't, I don't drink. I've never gotten to it. They still have a variety of different drinks that you can have that don't involve any alcohol or any, over the top. Like, my personal favorite thing to get there is the Flamingo Fizz. And I'm actually kind of basic when it comes to that because I don't like um, going out and getting stuff that I wouldn't normally venture out and eat into. My palate's kind of plain. So when I'm going out and I'm ordering there, what I'll usually get is the nacho platter. But this year, I kind of did something a little bit new. I wanted to expand my horizons a bit. So I went and I got the steak fajita and the fried ice cream. And normally I would have been careful about that because as a diabetic, I have to be careful about how much I drink. But it was a special occasion, and I wanted to indulge myself. So I ordered it, and it was fabulous. Like, I didn't imagine fried ice cream. Like, first of all, I didn't even know fried ice cream was a thing. I thought the ice cream would melt. But it was delicious. And the steak fajita, I kind of have to admit, I kind of did it backwards a bit. I took the fajita apart and just ate the steak by itself. So I didn't really have, you know, eat it in the correct order, but I wasn't really thinking about it either. So I just dug right in. And, oh look, guest visitor. Anyway, and this, again, is a locally owned restaurant. It's in the Fargo Moorhead area. So if you're ever traveling through that area of the Midwest and you're looking for a good place to eat, I highly recommend it. And again, it's not just the food that makes it good too. If you take a look around the decor, you'll see it's a restaurant that has beautiful stained glass windows and a magnificent fountain in the center. So, it's that atmosphere in general is just amazing. I remember my family used to eat there on Sundays or on special occasions, and there was never a time I went there and I was ever disappointed by anything on the menu. And even when it comes to the staff, the staff are friendly. Let's get that out of the way right now. They were really open to seeing what I like, opening to recommendations, and we went there during the summer, so we weren't expecting it to be as busy as it was. And to see that it was still thriving in the way that it was, it really made me happy because a lot of restaurants nowadays, they are, going out of business. A lot of small town restaurants. But to see that it was still doing well, I mean, that is a piece of my childhood. And seeing it still going strong makes me incredibly happy. Now, one of the things that makes this a good restaurant is that it's completely all seasonal, so there's not like a wrong time to go. You could go there during the summer, you can go there during the winter, and you'll find something for every part of the year. And you know, the difficulty with it is that it's a 4 hour drive away from where I live, and so it is incredibly difficult to get to, which kind of makes me sad. Um, but it would be worth the 4 hour drive to be completely honest. And um, just I can't think of a bad thing to say about it. So, like I said, if you are in the Fargo Moorhead area and you are looking for delicious Mexican cuisine, then I highly suggest you check out Paradiso. And the good news is it's not just in Fargo either; it's also in Grand Forks. So for those of you who aren't don't live in directly in Fargo, it's still a close enough drive. So that's kind of a good thing too. And I guess the final thing I want to say to, I just want to say thank you to the restaurant because whenever I'm feeling down and I'm feeling alone, I can look back at that restaurant and I can think of all the fond memories I had there. And it just brings me such joy to realize that I was able to experience that type of environment to eat in. And I know I'm making it sound like it bigger than it is, but it really is. In because I come from a long line of family of cooks, and I value food. I value the chance to be able to go out and eat when you have the chance. And having such an amazing restaurant to do that in is an opportunity for me. And with that being said, I will move on to the next restaurant on my list, which is Ponderosa. Now, I have a surprise guest on camera. Anyway, Ponderosa is one of those more widespread ones. It used to be a huge steakhouse back in the day, back in the 90s, early 2000s. I'm not sure when it opened, but, you know, again, it's one of those restaurants where you could not go wrong. And I know a lot of people will think, well, hey, it went out of business. It must have not been doing that well, which is true. But if you want my personal opinion, I don't think the food was that bad. I mean, usually I go for the buffet, so because I liked having the open options. But you know, as a like, it's one of those restaurants with a family atmosphere. And I'm not sure since I haven't been there in a while, so I'm not sure what changes there are. I know there's one in Wisconsin Dells, but I don't go there ever, so and the one that I would have went to, which would have been in Fargo, is gone. So it's kind of like I can't really comment it as now because that wouldn't be fair because I haven't been there. But going off my experiences, it has been such an amazing, destination to eat. I remember one time when I was younger, they were giving away free Beanie Babies, and I was really thankful for that because that was something that not a lot of restaurants did, and it was kind of one of the more of those restaurants that we would go like once every 6 months. It was a special occasion restaurant, so you didn't know when you were going, but it made it easier to decide as a whole what you wanted to eat because there was the actual menu that you could order off of, and then you had the buffet where you could choose which course you wanted. Like you had the potatoes, you had the Jello, you had the uh, steak, stuff like that, macaroni and cheese. And one of the things I like about buffets is that you don't have to pay any extra for a portion. You can take as much as you want and have your fill. Now, I do understand the downsides to having a buffet. Obviously, it's you kind of have to be cautious on the hygienic side of that. But even so, it's still worth it to me because you get the option, you get the variety, and having that variety really helps when you're not sure what you're in the mood for. For example, let's say one person wants seafood and the other wants Italian. They're a little bit of a hodgepodge of everything. So it makes it easier when you're going out with a large family and you're not sure what to eat. And what I don't remember exactly what the atmosphere was. Like it was good, but I can't remember the indoor decor, as it were. Um, the only part I can remember it was like it was a dark green, wood flooring, um, soft lighting. It was kind of your standard steakhouse practice. And flavor wise, it was an A plus easily. Um, just a disclaimer: there's not going to be a bad restaurant on this list. They're all my top favorites. So, and again, this is just my personal opinion, but when I'm thinking about it, it's one of those restaurants where you can go to and you know you're going to have a very good hearty meal. And, most of the time we went there during winter, but, if I could go there again for my birthday, I definitely would because it was just that good. But like I said, the downside of Ponderosa is that a lot of them have closed in the area, and like I said, the only one that I know of is about 2 hours away. So that would be a difficult drive, even if Wisconsin Dells is close to where I live. So, but would I recommend it? Of course. Um, the food's good, the atmosphere's good. And again, I can't speak because prices have gone up, so I can tell you what the prices are right now. But no matter what they are, it definitely be worth it. So, if you're ever near Ponderosa, I highly recommend you check it out. give it a try. And so on to my third pick of my top five, or top five part one, and this may be a controversial one. It's going to be Olive Garden. Now I know, it's not, a lot of they don't see it as real Italian, but I'm not really that picky. I got to say, their endless pasta bowls are delicious, and it's really hard to make good pasta because you got to get the consistency for the sauce right. You have to make sure the noodles are cooked exactly right. And as someone who's tried to make Alfredo before, it can be very difficult. Now, the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about Olive Garden is that it's not meant to be like, because I've been to Italian restaurants before. I've been to let's see, one I went to is Andiamo. Um, one is let's see, what's another one? Um, the Mediterranean Grill and Cafe. A lot of the Italian restaurants that I've frequented, it's kind of like an American's take on what Italian food, and that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. It's just you kind of have to set your expectations for what you're getting. And again, I love that woman. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic here. Um, but what I'm trying to say is, you're the atmosphere is beautiful. I mean, you see the selection of wines, you see the paintings on the wall, you see the just everything about it is. You may not be in a fully authentic Italian, but they try as best to make it feel authentic as possible. And I'm not gonna lie, one of the things that gets me the most is the breadsticks. The breadsticks are my by far my favorite thing. Oh, and of course we can't forget about. I'm gonna circle back to the breadsticks in a minute. But my favorite thing about going to Olive Garden is that you get those cute little mints. And yes, I call them cute. I'm not gonna apologize for it. They're cute. But so like it's hard to find restaurants that do that nowadays. And I'm thankful that Olive Garden is still one of the very few ones that do that. But going back to the breadsticks, it is difficult, really difficult to get that right. Like I can't think of anyone that could or very few people that can recreate the exact recipe as Olive Garden does. And I'm a carb man. I love my carbs. I absolutely love their breadsticks, and I know they're not as popular as a lot of the other ones, but even if I had $1 million and I could go to any restaurant I want, I would still go to Olive Garden because everything there from the pasta to the drinks to the desserts, they're all delicious. So there's no way I could not go to Olive Garden, even if I had the option to go to an authentic Italian restaurant. Side note about that actually, they actually put an Olive Garden in my hometown of Eagan, Minnesota. Um, and oh wow, okay. Um, and I was wondering where they were going to put it at first because the layout, there wasn't. Eagan kind of goes into three parts, so I wasn't sure if they were going to put it like near the Target or you know where the old Chicago used to be. I really couldn't tell. But they were really creative about where they put it. It was right next to the Hy-Vee. And the parking can be a little bit of an issue because when you've got a parking lot that's right next to a grocery store, that's also right next to a bunch of strip malls. Parking can be a nightmare. But overall, it was a well placed, and I would never say this normally, but I kind of regret moving solely for the fact that they put an Olive Garden there. Um, would I move back? Probably not. But it's just one of those things where I wish I had known sooner. And if you haven't tried Olive Garden yet, again, go, give it a try. If you don't like it, that's okay. This is just my personal opinion. And for my fourth one, this is going to be kind of a difficult one to talk about because a lot of them are closed now. I don't think they're still around. So this is more of an in memoriam type of thing. Um, the restaurant used to be called Country Kitchen. It used to be like I think along the lines of Perkins. Um, your kind of small town joint. It was a little bit brighter though. They had a lot more windows and it had a brighter atmosphere. A lot of light blue and yellow. Um, the only one that I remember being around was in Detroit Lakes, and I remember because my grandma would used to take me there quite often. It was a destination while we were at our trailer in Detroit Lakes. And spoiler alert, there's going to be another uh, Detroit Lakes mention here in part two. But like I said, Country Kitchen was one of those ones where you felt like you were dining in like the local. I don't want to say diner exactly because diners have a different feel. Think of your country grandmother's kitchen. That's the best way I could describe it. The food, I don't remember much about it. It must have been good because I really like it, but I can't really give it a good review on. And again, a lot of them are closed, so they must have not been doing that well. If there's some still around, let me know in the comments. I would love to know if they're still around. I just know all the ones in my area closed, but when it's kind of like one of those places where you can get a nice hearty breakfast or lunch. Think waffles and fried chicken or mashed potatoes and gravy. See, That's one of the things you got to know about me. I'm in a. I don't stray from my menu options too much. I like to have the. I like to know what I'm gonna have ahead of time. Um, but it's easier to me to know what I'm gonna order if I know what type of restaurant it is. And Country Kitchen, it was one of those ones where I felt like breakfast was the best way to go. Of course, me, I always order the burger, so I'm just a cheeseburger with just cheese and ketchup type of guy. I'm not really adventurous when it comes to my meals. But, even though I don't remember that quite well, I do remember enjoying it. And part of it to do with is I had my family with me, of course. But it it's just one of those things where I wish I could remember more about it. Like, I wish I could remember what it looked like from the inside, and I wish I could remember what I ordered there. But it's been like, let's see, we left the trailer in '07, so it's been 10 plus years since I've been to a country kitchen, so I can't remember it all that well. Um, would I recommend it? Yes. Uh, but like I said, I can only go based off on what I know. I'm not sure how they're doing nowadays. I don't know if the prices have changed or anything, but all that I do know is that I really enjoyed it, and it really made a good, like, for example, what do you associate with summer? A nice cool glass of lemonade. It felt like the place where you could go and have a nice glass of lemonade and just a short, quick meal and have a good time. One of those places where you think that it's not so much for eating as it is for socializing. And I just sat down, have a nice lunch, talk to some friends or family members, what have you. And I think one of the reasons this holds a special place in my heart is again, it's from my childhood. So as an adult, I can't really be specific on what it's like nowadays, since a lot of things have changed since I was a kid. A lot of the restaurant structure, um, I've worked in the restaurant industry before, so I know it can be difficult, and you know, especially given these times right now. I guess I shouldn't be surprised considering what the pandemic did to a lot of restaurants, but I still wish it well. And for my final pick for the first part of my top 10 favorite restaurants is Old Country Buffet. Now, I know this is kind of weird for me because this is one that I had when I moved to Minnesota, but this one holds a special place in my heart mainly because it's where I proposed to my wife. And my family's been there a bunch of times. I'm sad because the one nearest to us closed, and again, I'm a buffet guy. I like to have a buffet. It makes it easier to decide what you want. But um, it's a really nice and wholesome restaurant. Like say you're going to your prom or you're taking your significant other out on a date. It is a nice place. It was a nice place to go, sit down, have a nice meal, and it was one of my top five birthday picks for where I would want to go on my birthday. Um, but I somewhere in the last 4 to 6 years it closed down, and that made me sad. It was a really heavy loss because as hard as it was me to adjust to my new surroundings, that was one of the things that kind of made it easy because um I'll just get right out of the way. Food is one of my stress relievers. I stress eat. I eat when I get nervous. Um and if I'm ever having a bad day or I'm having a rough week, I could have gone there and known that it was going to be a good experience. It was located in a strip mall, so you'd think it'd be small, but it was actually fairly sized for its, and I remember going there when I was younger. There were always a lot of lines. Like it wasn't unpopular by any sense of the word. It's just I think with the economy the way it is and everything with the that's going on in the world right now, it just couldn't stand, and that's kind of sad because food I give it an A, atmosphere I give it an A, price I'll go with B minus. It was a tad bit more expensive, but I can understand why they charged that when you're paying ahead of time and you get to decide how much you want to eat. But no, I remember one time me and my family went there to eat, and I felt so bad for my father because he ate so much that he actually made himself sick. And oh no, okay, yeah, and I couldn't blame him. I mean, I did the same things at Perkin once, but when you have that good amount of food, it is hard to control yourself. And for me especially, I've kind of accepted the way I am. I my 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 golden years are done. I'm not gonna lose any of this weight. I'm not gonna go back to having the six pack that I used to have or whatever. But that's okay with me because I'm happy with who I am, and that makes it easier to me to enjoy my favorite foods. Now, of course, I still watch what I eat because of my diabetes, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to enjoy myself either. So, with that being said, if there's still an old country buffet around where you live, go for it. Enjoy it. It is definitely a restaurant worth checking out. And, I highly encourage anyone that's never gone there before, if they still can, to go. Because I enjoyed almost, okay, the two things I will not eat, or one thing I will not eat is seafood. I've never been a huge seafood fan, so that's probably going to be out of the question for me. But overall, they had a great selection of food, especially for a buffet, because they got one of those. They had one for each section. American food, Italian, desserts, stuff like that. I don't think there was ever a time that I went there and I was ever disappointed by my meal. I just wish I could eat as much as I used to when I was a kid. Be the bottomless pit. And with those are my first top five. Like I said, if you know of any of these restaurants or you've ever been there, or you know where of one is, or you haven't even tried it yet, I recommend you go there. Leave a like, comment, tell me what you think about them, and hey, if you want to partake, tell me your favorite restaurant. Maybe I'll try it sometime. Um, and this is just part one of my two-part series about my top 10 favorite restaurants. And again, this is entirely my opinion. I am no way telling you what to think. I like people to have their own opinion, and I would hope that if there's one of these restaurants around you, that you'll take the opportunity to give them a try. And again, if you have a favorite restaurant you'd like me to take a look at, go feel free to go ahead and leave it down in the comments below. I love community engagement, and I love to hear what your thoughts are on these restaurants and these different places we're gonna visit. With that being said, part two will be out in a bit. I'm planning on going over the second half of the list in a day or two here. But I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I really looked forward to making it. If you like the video, please give a like, a subscribe, a comment, and share with a friend. And, I just hope you all have a great rest of the year 2023. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Alright, you guys, have a great day. Bye.